Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, good day to you. Day 21, and I can't believe I'm saying it again, but this time we're finishing the game for sure. Yesterday we have two streams, 5 hours each, when we tried to finish the game, but the game just surprising us with more content after we thinking it's about to happen. So we already released the god the Sapadal, and he teleported us back to um, first map, like literally first map, and there's some kind of like tension happening, the war happening. We're about to actually go and investigate and talk about what happening here in Paradise. Something involving the inquisitors, probably, potentially, most likely. Which is kind of strange because yeah, look how a soul look like. There's even some faces screaming. So again, we're back to Paradise, and we're looking at this map. A map looks quite big. Again, there's a lot of fog of war. I don't know if you would need to explore a whole map or just part of it for finishing the game, but I deem it was quite a few more content.
They marched in with no warning. I couldn't think. I
Sansa.
just ran.
Easy. You're here now. Where did they come from?
Envoy, what does the Garrote think they're doing?
Intelligence. Whatever it's take to show Paradise they're in charge.
What's the point of exploring if you just want to plant your flag everywhere?
Is everything Emporium alright?
They broke some glass, but the map is safe. They didn't think I was worth the trouble.
Right now, that's a good thing.
If you're looking for survivors, a few of us fled to the Balrog.
How many?
I'm not sure. I saw Sapiento. Gods, I hope they're not trapped in there. I am sorry I can't be more help.
So Balrog. We never saw any Balrogs. You know, like that legendary creature everyone talking about. If you see one, you need to run. You never saw any of that. So basically, the variety of monsters or enemies in this game not so vast. You can thank me if you in your next books. How does that sound?
On the very first page.
We should move. Let's hope the Garrote hasn't made it to the Balrog yet.
Envoy, wait! Before you go, I may have something for you. I took some supplies when I ran. If you think they'll help, they're yours. I'll even give you a discount. You know, for saving the city and everything.
Okay, let's see what they have here. Adra, dragon hides, glass branches. Maybe we can actually take those branches, alright, and try to improve my book to the next level. That's possible.
Snow? Why is there snow here?
That's gotta be Ringgrim's work.
Yeah, can teleport here.
I heard she made it snow in Shatterscarp.
Oh, the Archmage is here.
A familiar face. We meet again, Envoy. And you, Yardsley. You're always a prodigious and welcome sight.
Oh, yes. Always a pleasure to see you, too.
Paradise burns. Thanks to Ludwig and the Steel Garrote laying
But I
siege
kill the
to it.
Ludwig and make the pile of ash
But
out of
the
her.
Dream Scourge is gone.
How? I kill the Ludwig and mount a forger, indeed.
She must have come back to life. Again. I suppose we couldn't be lucky enough for her to stay dead.
Come back
It's
from like what?
remarkable
From
how hard
pile
you
of
mortals
dust?
fight for causes that'll be forgotten within centuries. Still, I do think the world has been irrevocably, if minimally, changed by your actions.
I freed the Sapadal. That's incredibly world-changing, you know.
Perhaps. A new god being set loose on the world is certain to have consequences. Mostly, I'm curious about whether you think you've made the right choice.
Result? I certainly did.
Ah, that mortal zeal. Always so fun. We will see if you're correct. I am interested in seeing the outcome of your story, Envoy. With luck, it won't end with you also on fire.
I hope it ends in a long nap after some excellent food. Hope you meet again in better circumstances. With luck, I'll end with a certain other parties in the fire. Okay, meet again.
Unfortunately, you'll likely be dead the next time I return to the Living Lands. Goodbye, Envoy. And Yardsley, I do look forward to when all
But
of
I mean,
this is done.
I'm a godlike.
I'm
I
eager to work
can live
with
for
you.
pretty long.
Oh, yes.
Probably.
We'll, discuss that later.
At least there was a precedent, right? There was the Eosanian godlike that we killed, who was at least alive for 600 years.
What happens in Dawn Shore shall ripple across the living lands. Oh, Envoy, how good to see you here as we
No, we
stand
have some
together on
zombies
the
here.
brink of this historic event. I don't know if thank you is precisely what I want to say, but I am grateful to you for bringing Dolna's theft to light. Paradise burns from the torches of the Steel Garrote. The people of the Living Lands stand ready to defend their home.
Will it be a recording at today's events for the archives?
Yes. What happens in Paradise now will decide the fate of the Parkrunen after all.
What's the plan if Paradise falls?
We will find a way to persevere. We Parkrunen have a gift for surviving inhospitable conditions, and always have. Whatever the outcome of the upcoming battle, do not forget us. I fear that more than our deaths. If Edir and the Steel Garrote have their way, they'll strip the history books of any mention of our culture and our ways. Future generations will only ever know us as an appendage of the Empire. I hope it doesn't come to that.
Even if I do triumph, I will ensure... Okay, that won't come to pass, I promise.
I hope so, Envoy. I truly do. That's as much as I'll say. You have a role in deciding what happens next. Do the right thing, Envoy. Let history remember you for the correct reasons.
Who cares about history? We can rewrite that.
Giata,
That's what they
where
do
have
in
you been?
nowadays.
Where haven't I been? I journeyed to the heart of the living lands.
Look
where
at those
time
guys.
held its breath.
Oh my god,
Dreams
look
of more
look at the
substance
piece
than
of
the
meat
age.
over here.
May I see it?
It's just dripping.
Not if
Oh
you
my
value your
god.
life.
Envoy, I knew you'd show up eventually.
How is Emerald Stair? More importantly, how are you?
Thriving on both counts, I'm happy to report. My revenants were just getting comfortable in Thirdborn when the Steel Garrote stepped out of line. When I heard tensions were brewing, I thought to myself, this is a job for the undead. So I gathered the flock.
Like, so I guess this is part of the game when they talking with all these NPCs I met during the whole campaign, and then we just doing final push, and then the game over. Good thinking. Nice to see you, Elia.
Likewise. I'll keep them on a tight leash, just in case the Steel Garrote breach our defenses. Better to have them and not need them. Oh, and I've been meaning to thank you. Whatever you did in the garden seems to have worked. Emerald Stair is healing, believe it or not. Once this is over, our crops will flourish like never before.
The Dream Scourge is behind us, thankfully.
Indeed. The metaphysical currents of the living lands are beginning to settle. Best of luck out there. And don't worry about a thing. My flock will keep us safe and secure.
These 3 zombies that barely
My
can move.
compliments to the flock, as always.
I don't think that's gonna work.
Creepy corpse friends, or whatever.
Yeah.
Enjoy the time. We know you. Did you help us?
But
You
then,
must have seen
Lieutenant.
me in a dream.
Okay.
Do you think it's over?
We smell steel. Should we run?
Run from me.
How's Casagrada?
As prepared as he'll ever be.
Ranger.
Nobody's taking.
I'll stay back here.
Those guys from Casagrada.
I can do this. I have to do this.
This guy is covered, I know of him. A free loot? Why they having dragon hides on them?
If you're wounded, find a place to lie down. Someone will get to you before you bleed out. If I seem distracted, I apologize. I'm tending to the farm.
This is a
as you can
dwarf.
see.
Just let me know if you need anything.
Believe it or not, we have more than enough supplies. The Claviger knew this day might come. Unfortunately, my hands are full with the dying and the dead, and there's too many of both. If I don't get any sleep, I might be the next casualty.
Take a break. I keep working. The living will thank you. The dead will understand.
I'll do my best. Though my best isn't what it used to be. Just pray that you don't end up in one of my cots. I can't promise you'll make it.
Okay, that's fucking
I
reassuring.
hope they don't end up on one of their cots either.
Well, there's a bunch of dead here. So they probably can make the zombies out of them. Well, that's a lot of dead, dude. Look at this. It's a lot of dead indeed. Mushrooms. So where we are, like, map-wise. Like, we need to go to the camp, do we? Okay, there's a Kai. Do you want to talk with me?
Things moved fast while we were in the garden.
Captain Wingmar.
Envoy,
That's the guy from the Sudborn.
from one battlefield to another, spring rolls and dude means at least children of your
They don't need this
The
one.
Envoy. Is that you?
Warden.
Envoy, how did you... I don't...
And she's also here. She's
It's
supposed
great to see
to...
you again, but where the fuck did you come from?
Where the
You
fuck?
just appeared out of nowhere.
Never mind, it's teleportation. I'm guessing you two work everything out between you.
Close enough.
Once word about Paradis reached us, we were allowed to go.
That's not important right now, Radut.
Right. Forgive me, Envoy. I won't keep you long. I just want to make one request while you're here. As much as you can, be good to the living lands.
Resolve. I don't even have resolve. Even after all the living lands has put us through. That's our desire.
Yes, but more than that,
What Radut is saying, Envoy, is that we know the adherents can put us through worse. And we don't want it to get bloody.
I'd just like for us to live lives that are free. For us. Not Adir to determine our fates. It's going to be up to you, Envoy. I know you have much to do, so I'll just leave you with that. Thank you.
Alright.
Do not allow your differences to blind you to the real
Oh,
threat.
damn it. A little bit over eating here. Okay, we don't need any of this.
time
What
for
didn't pass
standing
through?
by is over.
Already been to this place. Okay, so the game wanted me to rest here a little bit and talk with Marius and Giata. And maybe finally read my book to the to the last level.
So, here we are. The first and last battle for the living lands.
We can only hope it's the last. Stay close to me, and we get through this together. After what we've been through, this feels like a formality. Yeah, hopefully that's the last.
Try praying instead of just hoping. That might work better for you. Metaphysically, the battle is already over. Sapadal is free, and the Dream Scourge is gone.
Indeed.
But politically, we have a small mess to tidy up.
So I thought that the game is over when frees Sapadal, but we still have this political mess, which they call a war. We haven't finished business with the Steel Garrote.
I intend to send a message to the Steel Garrote, and it won't be subtle. Anyway, who knows what tomorrow will bring, so let's be grateful for today. You've earned a little peace of mind.
We all have?
I think that's enough wool gathering for now. Besides, I need to tinker on the phantasmal focus. Make sure it's ready for war. Don't stay up too late.
Let's talk about the Battle for Paradise.
What's on your mind?
I wanted to ask about you. That's all. Her tone, you know, a voice acting here was
I know enough to patch a hole or mend a
kind of
sail.
different.
Why do you ask?
Well,
She still want to talk with me.
We should take a moment to acknowledge what happened back there. You liberated the god of the living lands. Now they are unchained, free to do whatever they want. That's quite a gamble you made.
Free to do my bidding. I trust Sapadal to do the right thing. Keeping him trapped wasn't good for the island. Yeah, I trust in my god, obviously. I'm his foremost disciple.
I admire your confidence. If not for you, Sapadal would still be pacing their cage like a wild animal. Which means you have leverage over a god. How do you plan on using it?
I used it to make a better living lands, probably to squeeze them for much power as I can get. To be honest, I haven't thought about this. I don't think about my relationship with Sapadal that way.
You're probably better off then. Sapadal's imprisonment shaped this island. Now that everything's changed, I'm curious what will happen. We cannot know if the living lands will normalize or destabilize as a result of our actions.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Either way, things could not continue as they have. I have to imagine what an unstable living lands look like. Thank you so much for that for abundant premonition. Yes, things could not continue as they were.
For better or worse, change is inevitable. Maybe you'll find some comfort in prayer, now that one of the gods is listening. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. The subject matter is a bit much for our little camp.
One of those days I want to hear more about your adventures. We have been through a lot together, haven't we?
We're not finished yet. For that, I'm grateful. I want you to know this has been an unforgettable experience. Wherever we go from here, I'm grateful to have been a part of it. Until next time.
Okay.
Not before I've done some reading.
Marius.
There you are, Envoy. You ready for this?
Ready as ever been.
Understood. Same here. I guess it helps we have a god on our side, right? I mean, a god beats a skeleton knight any day. This is just cleanup. Just figuring out who controls the living lands from here out.
Right, this is just politics. Well, Except it's bloody war, and there's a bunch of dead bodies, but they call it politics. Nowadays. Yeah, we still have a lot to do here.
You have a lot to do. I just need to survive and make sure you live through this. Anyway, you should get some rest. Oh, if you need to rehearse any speeches or whatever, make sure you do it in front of someone else.
You don't want to hear my speeches? You fool.
It's not that I don't want to. It's that I'd just rather not. Talk to you later, Envoy.
Come on. I prepared the glorious speech of a new empire I'm gonna be ruling as the foremost disciple of my god.
You sneezed. Yonata.
So who are we taking with us? We're taking Marius or we're taking a Kai as a tank? I think we just, instead of Marius, we're taking Kai here. We played with the Marius quite a bit. And what we also need to probably need to figure out the loadouts for Kai. We do have 1 point over here, by the way, wizardry. Godlike. We got the last godlike ability too. The Sapodal Fury. 16 cooldown. Unleash the power of Sapodal to lift all nearby enemies into air and slam them down, dealing high damage. Companions. So Kai has 3 points in fire. Defense reduction was okay, second win. Increase the amount of health restored. Leap of fate, okay, the defenses. Increase incoming damage by 50. Increase the health regeneration when it ends on the shockwave to damage nearby enemies. And attack speed buff. Looks okay. Yatsli can do more things. Increase the size of the blast. Okay. So what we can do is here, Ranger, power attack with bows and guns, deal 40% stun, fear of blows, bear ally. You know what, there's actually was summon spells, but the summoning spells was in the Ranger class, not a wizard. There were actually summoning spells. Increase the critical hit chance by 10%. That's interesting. That's interesting even for mage. So next we want to sort out my skill tree here. Alright. So Kai want to get this one. The taunt ability. Godlike abilities. Do we just keep the Sapodal Fury? It's kinda a lot like of essence. But I get an essence back with my new suit, so it's like whatever. Well, that's not the thing I wanted to do. Whatever. Yeah, okay, let's put this on 6 in that case. Oh, I didn't craft the stupid yeah, I didn't craft the stupid thing. The book. Alright, so book. Grimoire 20. 75. Get a little bit of quality, and 12 out of 14. 76. 12 out of 14. Crafting. Needed 2 glass branches. I can't. 2 glass branches anywhere? Unable to save. Okay, okay, okay. And we also ran out of save save files yesterday. A little bit happened. Yeah, stuff happened. Let's go. Ready for the last battle, for the last battle. Probably.
Envoy? Is it really you?
Who else was
Valhalla
gonna be?
told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Makutadek?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak. It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened?
I met the god of the living land and freed them. I discharged my duty to the Emperor and ended the Dream Scourge. Whatever I say, you won't believe me. Forget the dreams. Okay, yeah, I met a god and set him free. All praise to Sapadal.
Sapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream Thralls still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge.
Okay, so there was
We can
no
give them comfort,
no cure.
nothing more. This will be a process. The Dream Scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but. What of this god, then? What does it mean that you freed them?
Sapadal is the god of the godless and the god of the living lands. Where they can imprison Sapadal in the garden, I let them out. The experience I had with the Sapadal is my own. All I need to know is over. So he's the god of the godless and the god of the living lands.
Ludwig had intimated that this land grew a new god. But how can that be?
Giada and I have some theories about the nature of the Adra in the living lands.
I'd say we're past the point of theorizing.
If the Adra here is a closed system, like a terrarium for our souls, then a gradual accumulation of essence could coalesce into a being in the beyond.
Much like the formation of gemstones. All it takes is time and the right application of pressure.
Wodka no doubt saw Sapadal as a threat to her authority. So, she killed the godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart Paradise? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
Nakutedek was riven with those things, not to mention what they did to the land.
We saw similar destruction at Nakuku Bell. If these roots and the Dream Scourge are the work of a god, and the gods thought it best to imprison this god, how could you let such a creature go free?
Sapadal deserved a chance to make amends. I could normally a young god to rot in a cage that I could kiss a child. Sapadal was afraid of an Arduran invasion and avoided a return. They didn't mean to hurt us. Yeah, I could normally with a young god to rot.
Altruism is fertile ground for folly, I've found.
Folly? It's my second
Adi's
name.
arrival that disturbed Sapadal. We'll have nothing to fear from this god once we expel you from our lands.
Sapadal's power ravaged my people. I don't know that I can ever trust it.
You
Keeping
infidels.
watch over Sapadal was a sacred task Nandru gave us when he left. For that reason alone, my wardens owe them their allegiance.
Well, whatever happens, I suppose we can't put the godling back in the bottle now.
But come, we have more pressing matters to attend to. The Steel Garrote have attacked Paradise. Inquisitor Ludwig has already joined the battle. She must have traveled like the wind to get here so fast.
I distinctly remember killing Ludwig of Mount Forger.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
There was only a pile of
She's
dust.
seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwig's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
I really thought I killed her for good.
Oh, cheer up. You wouldn't be the first to make that mistake.
That was that fight that Desphalax tried to interrupt.
Depending on how things go. So long as
The surprise
her
and
passion for
sub.
Wodica lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible.
What do you know about the Satanic Ambassador?
Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwig who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
She and her steel garrote laid siege to the city, shortly after you beat her to the garden.
Do we know the state of the city?
We've had no news from inside for several days. From what we can observe, southern Paradis is in pieces, and the remaining militia batters at the gates to no avail.
Is there nothing our people can do?
Given the state of our supply routes after the Dream Scourge, and the Steel Garrote's destruction, we expect the people trapped inside will run short of fresh food and clean water in a matter of days.
What's the status of position?
We brought as many Hail and Able from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Nakuku Bell, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
What are your plans on counterattack?
Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradis militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside,
The siege won't end until Ludwig does. And none of you know how to kill her.
precisely.
What does Ludwig hopes to achieve here?
The lawful settlement of a new Adirian colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Wodican state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement.
Intelligence is unrealistic to assume these people will roll over and surrender. Fucking chance for that.
Somewhere inside that hollow head of hers, I believe she always hoped she'd turn you to her side. Remember, she has an obligation to Wodica, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garrote nor the queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers.
Why did Ludwig decide to attack Paradis now?
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwig in the tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence.
Layout Jata. We can assign blame when the dust settled.
Why are you treating him with kid gloves when Paradis cries out for help?
Enough. I've heard your concerns. We cannot change it now.
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwig's vision for the Living Lands.
Well, it's more than that, isn't it? The foundation of Adir are crumbling.
That's what Ludwig thinks. Adir doesn't revere Wodika as fervently as it once did. Worship of Mogrin, Berith, even Aethys has gained a foothold. Many no longer trust that the gods are listening. Some question whether they guide the wheel at all. The Empire lost its foothold in the Eastern Reach. The well-bred avoid child-rearing in pursuit of cosmopolitan pleasures. The Church is weak against them. In a world of soul against soul, Ludwig believes we have lost ours. The Empire must change, or it will die.
So she's not the only one who feels that way. The Empire must change, but not like this.
I'm afraid you're in the minority there. You and I both know she is not the only one in the Empire who feels this way. Even the Emperor can see, in some sense, that she's right. Why else would we be here?
Do you think the living lands would stabilize under Adiran rule? Did Stilgarrote explore any alternative before dealing the sudden attack?
What passes between Ludwig and her men, or between Ludwig and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Your empire is doing what it does best. Stamping out dissent until surrender is the only option.
Your republics are hardly any different. Their intentions in the Deadfire were certainly not pure.
As you say, we left the republics for a reason.
Do you think living lands would... Okay, so is it what the Emperor wants? Enough of this. Adir could set a new standards for greatness in the living land? Enough of this.
I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwig, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here.
I know what I would like to do. What would become of colony entails? I'm not familiar with the grain farm. How does that work?
The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adir's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Grave Room's aid.
And who would be the grave room?
Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. But I suspect he would choose you. Only the strong survive the frontier. I used to believe that was Ludwig. But you were born to rule here.
I'm born to rule.
Literally.
I was hoping you'd say that.
You're the obvious choice. There is no Adiran who knows this place better than you.
So, turn inward. Opinion Sapadal. Turn to your companions. What do you think?
Tribute, he says. Taxes. Soldiers. The Empire has tried it all before. Look to the Eastern Reach if you don't believe me. They want to bleed us dry. To fill their coffers and fight their wars. To break us like wild animals. But I will not bend.
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We get the benefits of Imperial trade and protection without losing all of what makes this place special. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation or two. But right now, it gives us the security and stability to recover.
We were fine before Adir showed up, and we'll be fine when they're gone. Trust the lands and her people, Envoy.
If we give Adir power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it later.
Okay, what about assumed leaders?
We give up our fighters and the wealth of our lands, and get promises in return. But we have wealth enough to give some away, if it means my wardens may return to their vigil in peace.
A grave rum could work, so long as trade keeps moving through the Scarp and you're willing to serve as our go-between envoy. And we'll have cannons enough to deter the adherents from trying anything stupid.
With the Dream Scourge ended, my people can soon return to Fior. If a renewed animancy could easily feed the island, I suppose we could send Adir what's left. But when lean times come, who will we feed first? Ourselves or the Empire?
Ask the opinion of a god. That's what mattered the most.
Subtle, pernicious, cut the rot, yet the disease remains. Safety among the spiders. A web gleaming with dew. They weave, they wait.
So he's not really... yeah, he's not really supportive of this decision. Tell me other options.
Of course.
What would it become of a colony entailed? I have another idea. How about united living lands?
Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
I assume the assembled leaders have thoughts.
Though I'm hardly eager to work with any of you. I like the idea of twisting beneath Adir's boot heel, even less. So long as the Wardens can continue our vigil, I'm open to uniting, if you are.
It's a nice idea, but consider the costs. If we walk away from a relationship with Adir, we're leaving a lot of trade on the table. But the people of Thirdborn have friends in the world. I'm sure we'd find our way through.
With the Envoy's support, we'd have a god in our pocket. What could
have a
the Empire
god.
do to stop us? When my
The
people
Empire
return
have a couple
to
of gods on their pockets
we could
too.
create such miracles of animancy. The living lands would become the breadbasket of the world.
Companions.
We deserve our autonomy, even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Adir came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
The god.
Risk into bounty. Does the winter frost dissuade the seeds? Many fruits on our boughs. We graft many leaves into strength.
It's hard to understand what he meant by this.
Of course.
So I already know what I'm fighting for. Ludwig vision and for the living land. Why are in the world in this decision? What would it become of Colony? I know what I would like to do.
Well, don't leave me in suspense.
It would be best if the living lands became the official colony of Adir. I think we should attempt a grave from. I believe we should fight for a united living land.
Oh, gods have mercy.
Solus and her wardens stand vigil with the living lands.
By grit and steel, Thirdborn stands with the living lands.
Fior and her animals
Independence.
stand with the living lands.
We deserve this opportunity. Thank you for believing in us.
Fighting a battle together is easy.
I just hope everyone's willing to stick it out when it comes to the politics.
Guys, they made the right decision for once.
Finally, some sense permeates the proceedings.
On your head be the consequences. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradis, and eventually the island.
Then I will meet Ludwig in the battlefield. Let no man stand who tries to stop me.
The Living Lands will never be free until we break the chain around our necks. Ludwig must die her final death.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradis militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Not solemnly.
Show them a fight, Envoy.
Big performance, reach maximum level.
Reclaim the Eastern Gate.
Level 30,
From
okay.
there, work your way to the main plaza.
Okay, understood.
May all the gods of Eora and the Living Lands protect you.
Let's take back the city together. Show the Steel Garrote how the Living Lands takes care of its own.
Time to stop the Steel Garrote. Lead the way, Envoy.
Let's go free a city, shall we?
Okay, so Giata want to talk me, want to tell me how to kill the Ludwig, right? Journal. Still have that stupid treasure map and the star metal. Abilities. One ability point. Do we just increases my critical chance? Father. And tomorrow is here. Welcome, welcome, mate. Greens, thank you for putting this robotic scum in their place. As always. Welcome. Today we finish in the game, for sure. This time, for sure. I'm interested in this bear ally. But it's maybe just a critical.
Can't sleep? Neither can I. We're going into battle for the soul of the Living Lands, rallying under the banners of the Paradis militia. Your Emperor will not be pleased.
Screw him. I have influence in court. My report on Living Lands will change the minds.
Political influence is dangerous. If you aren't careful, it can turn against you. When a godlike fights in battle, people take note of which side. The Adherents will doubt your loyalty. The locals will doubt your commitment. You may even doubt yourself. This is the first time you were told to pick a side. And I fear it won't be the last.
The Living Lands accepted me for who I am. I can't forget that.
All we ask in return is that you do the same for us. From what I understand, your ambassador is very persuasive, very powerful, and very accustomed to getting his way. For a politician like him, losing a battle is not a defeat. It's an opportunity. When he promises you the world, don't listen. He'll fill your head with lies if you let him.
Noted. Thank you for warning.
I'm glad we understand each other. It's good to see you fighting for the misfits and rabble-rousers. Time for you to get some rest. We have a big day ahead of us.
But what about, like, killing Ludwig? So we're going to cross paths with Ludwig again. Are you concerned? So how do you feel, Susha, about the Living Land? Are you worried about the outcomes? Okay, so yeah, Ludwig.
In truth, I'm not as worried as I used to be. I've been thinking about the Inquisitor. Formulating a theory, you might say. A Death Guard clings to their existence by force of will. Stubbornness, unfinished business, that sort of thing. Ludwig is held together by faith, and that may be her undoing.
So because Sapadal challenged her faith?
Precisely. Faith is the foundation of her reality. Faith in the righteousness of the gods. But according to her faith, Sapadal should not exist. A new god independent of hers? Blasphemy. By that logic, you shouldn't exist either. And yet here you are.
So I can just destroy her, I have to destroy her faith.
That's my point, exactly. I think you already have. You are the godlike of a heretical god. A contradiction to her.
I'm not a
humanity.
heretic, what are you saying?
Can you imagine how much she needs you to die?
Are we bad
Her
guys? We
entire
heretics?
worldview depends on it. Who knows? Maybe that uncertainty is enough to make her
This
mortal
can be
again.
true.
Or maybe not. I'm just theorizing as I go. Whatever happens, I want to see it for myself. For the research.
Okay.
Until next time.
Marius.
You should get some sleep. Big day coming up.
So you're still up, so?
Right. Things feel different now. Wrong, somehow. I've been in a lot of dangerous situations, but it's always been a fight to survive. It's just a fight. Putting my life on the line for someone else's cause. It's the opposite of survival. It's foolishness.
You're right, it doesn't make sense, but sometimes it's necessary. You've been fighting for my cause all the time, why is it different?
You helped me through some rough Sokka, Envoy. Your cause became my cause at that point. We're about to go out there and risk our lives for... what? A concept of how things ought to be? We might die, all to determine who sleeps in the nicest house in Paradise until the island decides it's time for a change. It's fine. Really. But it's some blessed day Sokka when you think about it.
I'm glad to use me, Marius, so...
Right. Careful you don't get stuck in all that sap. I'll be all right, Envoy.
That's all?
You go get some blessed day rest.
Okay, all abilities are where they supposed to be. Save. So finally done with the talking. Going in. If those guys are just staying there and watching.
That'll teach you.
I'll teach you indeed.
See? Stop right
They have no chance against me. And look at the mana. Look at the mana. Even before picking up the assassin's sink. Full mana.
Where's my mark? On your right.
Need a moment, dear.
That one's mine.
There's no
Reign with us.
Wait, this was like my guy all along. What's the guy with, okay, we help.
Tear your enemies apart.
We help in Galloway Tusk. The guy from side quest. Able to save. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oh my god, okay. Right, chat. Don't have the space for autosaves. It's because we're deleting a lot of saves files, but we only can use them for saving once or twice. Because their amount of megabytes that the final saves on a level 30 waiting, it's way more than from the saves from a previous, from a lower levels, basically. Alright, and apparently the whole save files are limited to 200 like something, 50 megabytes or something. Which is total bullshit. I remember playing the Baldur's Gate 3 and having like 10 gigabytes worth of saving. Not kidding, 10 gigabytes. I was like wondering where my disk space was disappearing. Level 30. Take the main plaza, take the eastern gate.
Let's see what you got. Hey, over here. Stop right
Did they kill the mage? So there's the Giata and all of the all other guys here. Oh my god.
Isa.
Go ahead. I'll hang back and watch the gate.
Take your loot.
Envoy, what are you doing here?
You
asked for it.
This. Come and get it.
Oh my god, oh my god. Have a fucking enemy mage over there. Let me try my godlike ability. This one. Capital Fury.
Over here.
Just a minute. On your left here.
Good, like.
Watch the left.
Not
What are you
bad
doing
for
here?
a scholar. I thought you left town weeks ago.
The Stilgarotic has gone too far. I'm here to put a stop to it. It's like the priestess of Helia.
About time. You're
And
the
a
only one
harlot.
Ludwig will listen to.
Are there any other survivors?
I saw a few on my way here. I imagine they've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. Listen, one of the Garot's units is scouting up ahead, maybe 5 strong. I wouldn't want to fight them if I were you. Take this key. It'll unlock the gate to the canals. You can thank the captain who forgot it.
Appreciate it, be careful.
You shouldn't find much opposition down there. I wish someone had stood up to the Steel Garot a long time ago. But, well, you're here now. That's what matters. Good luck.
Well, do we go through the canal like a rats?
We should go now, while the fighting's died down.
Can you not hear the screaming outside?
She's right. We can't go now. Then when?
Elora,
Should
Elora.
we wait till the Garot set this bar alight?
That's a blacksmith.
What are the Steel Garot thinking? How could this
So all
possibly
NPCs
help
are
us?
surviving.
Envoy! I doubted I'd ever see you again. I imagine I could guess what brings you back to Paradis. I must thank you once again for bringing me the Luminous Adra so long ago.
So, how did your experiments go?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was a complete failure, of course. But from that failure, I learned much. With some
Damn it.
creative exploration, I was able to refine the Adra into a poultice that heals wounds at a fantastic rate.
Arcane Scholar, I'm surprised you didn't destroy the town with your creative exploration.
It seems fate was on my side, doesn't it? I know you have much to do in town, so I'll let you go. Thank you again for everything.
Okay. I wonder what happened to those farmers to which I got 100 gold investment.
Envoy, am I ever glad to... Everyone's scared, Envoy.
We may not make it out of here alive.
I really wonder. Don't really need to loot those guys. It's nothing much for me from it. So where is the plaza?
Show you'll stop right there.
Take your best shot.
Get off me!
Oh, that's a sorcerer. I need to kill it right away.
Work up, envoy.
Not a moment, dear.
In the eyes! Your armor's too weak here.
Another wizard.
Dream with us.
Who did it? Oh my god, like my companion has the lightning accumulation. I just hitting me with fucking lightning. Off with this.
Envoy over here. What exactly do you think you're doing?
Fighting.
Don't you ever take a break?
You nearly died in my clinic. Correction, you did die. And now look at you. Fighting the Steel Garot. What have you got to say for yourself?
Sorry. I liberated the imprisoned god and can take care of myself now.
That's the worst excuse I've ever heard, and believe me, I've heard it all. Kai, is this your doing?
Come on.
He
I
did
couldn't
have
kept
an
him out of the
influence.
action if I wanted to.
I knew you were a bad influence.
Told
We're
you.
patching up folks as best we can, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. War is a damn bloody mess.
Constitution 1. I'm almost okay. Anything I can do to help?
Yeah, stop the fighting. I can't say I approve of you leaping into the fray, but it's always nice catching up with a former patient. Gods be with you, Envoy. For my sake, try not to die a second time.
Come on. You know this.
We died
You
yesterday
practiced with Uncle
a
Capo
lot of
100
times.
Envoy, it's good to see you fighting on the right side of history. Out of curiosity, what turned you against the Steel Garrote?
That's resistance. The living lands deserve autonomy.
It's high time we explain that to a few people. You know the Steel Garrote a lot better than we do. Their coordination is damn impressive. Any advice?
Give them a moving target, force them to improvise. Show no mercy, the guards will flee. Stick them with a pointy end. This always works. Yeah, moving targets.
Not a bad idea. When the fighting starts, some soldiers forget how to think on their feet. Ready to make history whenever you are.
You're a natural commander.
My great prayers. This synced and blooded splattered piece of parchment contains a simple prayer to Margaret to inspire courage in battle to her followers. Fear not the flames of conflict, for they shape all things. Through your strength she makes her will manifest. Walk in her light, and you will find peace. Okay, we did do everything we could. How's Chico doing here?
Don't worry about me. Actually, I'm not sure I've been through worse.
Okay, he doesn't want to talk with me, but we didn't part on a good terms with him. We killed his uncle after all. Well, mercifully killed him.
Envoy, welcome to the right.
So try and do subtle ability once more.
Over here!
Oh my god.
In the dark!
You've taken the main plaza. I'll stay behind. Just don't do anything foolish.
Just a minute. And stay
Another win.
down.
But who's counting?
Confront to Ludwin.
Boudica demands your submission. Stand against her and fall.
Let's pay Ludwig one final visit, shall we?
Lead on. I'm with you to the end.
Let's make sure she stays dead this time. All right, dearie?
Okay, boss fight, chat. A little boss fight potentially.
You are.
So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time?
Possibly. I know how to break you now. You died twice by my count. Maybe this third time the charm. I know how to break you.
So you say. But you can't kill me in a way that hasn't been tried already. Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise, He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand.
Her order wields sharp steel. She must set down her blade.
The living land will unite and remain free. There's nothing you can do about it.
You can tell Wodaka yourself once we've sent you back to the wheel.
Don't insult my intelligence or my commitment to the cause. Treaties can be burned. The hands which shook over whatever deal you struck can be lopped off at the wrist. As for you, Sapadal's chains are broken, which means your soul is in their grasp. I don't know how deeply you've been compromised, Envoy. And if I don't know, then I cannot suffer you to live.
Sapadal is under mind control. Sounds like you already made up your mind about me. As usual, you leap into conclusions about something you barely understand.
Do not patronize me. I have every right to put down a threat to the Empire. Steel yourself, Envoy. Make this a fight to remember, even in death.
Like I'm looking at her teeth.
Welcome her death. There is still ample shade for her beneath our tree.
Intelligence, I won't fight you, Ludwig. I don't need to.
You will. You must. You have no choice. Face me and die with honor. Or fall to your knees and die as a coward. How you die doesn't matter. But you will die. Every vestige of Sapadal must be wiped from this earth. The Burned Queen demands it.
We are a challenge to her authority. She is afraid of what we mean.
Perception. If Uedica is powerful as she is claimed to be. Dude, intelligence 12 over 13. I don't actually have intelligence option here. Oh my god. Okay, if Uedica is powerful as she claims, why doesn't she kill me herself?
The Burned Queen doesn't need to sully her power with mortal concerns.
So there's actually
Not
something
when she
that going
can
below
rely on me. I will
higher
pursue
than
her
12
ambitions
rolls.
until my bones grind themselves to dust. While you are little more than a nursemaid
Bullshit.
to your diseased false god. Hear me, Envoy. I am the avatar of the Burned Queen, the goddess of retribution. I am her sword arm, her will in the world. And so long as I can fight, I will be her champion.
But she fails, and fails, and fails her god. How long until Wodaka finds a new avatar?
Perception, dude, like 14. Don't tell me it's gonna go up to 15 here. Don't tell me they're the 15 roll, because we can roll for 15. I don't have any stats that are 15. We can try to, well, improve it with some consumables.
Temporary setbacks. The war for the living lands can still be won. And if I must stand alone against you, the militia, and every farmer you've given a sword, then I will. I will die 1,000 times for my queen, if that's what she desires. I've done all that I could. She sees that. She must. I believed we were alike, Envoy. That when the time came for you to prove your loyalty, you would choose Adir. I believed the dream of our future, of our resurgent empire, would move you as it does me. And if that failed, I believed the Burn Queen would stop you. Yet here you stand before me, my enemy, unopposed by the gods. Why?
The worm of doubt gnaws at her soul, Where was Wodica when she needed her most? Where is she now?
And of course we don't have like of course we don't have the resolve any scene, right? So this fight is to truly kill her. You need actually one of your stats, one of his 3 stats is intelligence, perception, and resolve to be on 15. Alright, and there was no before this there was no dialogue that going higher than 12. There was no dialogue that going higher than 12 in my stats, and so they limited my stats by 12 everywhere I could, and invested in some other stats like dexterity, for example, for my action speed. That's the bullshit. Well, again, we do have the consumables. So the only thing is, right? I wish they're gonna be improving on a game in the future when you can use your items, the consumable items, during the dialogue option. Right, so buff the stats, and you seem like you're just missing one stat or something. You can just buff it like temporary for short duration, because otherwise we haven't been using consumables playing on the hardest difficulty here.
This one's mine. One for you.
That'll show.
We make a good squad.
Wodica demands your submission.
Yeah, that's like very strange lords over here. So something giving me resolve. Alright, resolve, I mean perception. +2 perception, fine mead. And maximum essence.
Stand against her.
There we go.
Fall.
That's Ludwig ahead. Lead on. I'm with you to the end.
There you are.
Let's make sure she's...
Stop. Stop.
Well, there's still intelligence over here.
The bird. Tap. And if yet.
Perception. Wedica left you to do it all on your own. Now she's punishing you for failing her. It's not fair. Is it?
The Burned Queen has always had my back against the world. I don't need anything else. I can still prevail. I must.
She's not coming to save you. It's just you against the entire Living Lands.
I feel her fire in me. I know I do.
Do you?
Wodica, my lady! Where are you?
No answer.
She doesn't love you anymore, if she ever did. She despises your weakness.
No! It's not true!
Shame.
Psychological warfare. Shame, shame. You're nothing.
Stop! I can't!
Give up, Ludwig. It's over.
No! 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 Forgive me! Wodica!
Oh well, we killed her for good. Come over here. I just talked to, you know, diplomacy. Was
Wherever Ludwig is now, she
was talking and she's just died.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for. But we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it.
Well, very anticlimactic final boss fight.
But carry on.
Talked her until she died.
At last, we no longer feel her wire against our flesh. We are free always. We are free forever.
Silence falls over Paradis, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody
Complete the game.
conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. You feel Sapadal close to your thoughts, stirring with interest. The god of the living lands is observing this moment, unfettered by confusion or fear. For the first time in centuries, they understand. The Paradis militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dream Scourge is over.
I've never been simple.
And the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth. How the plague came from a power beyond mortal understanding, and how it is finally at peace. Thanks to you, the Living Lands has escaped Adiran oppression. The free settlements unite under a common banner and begin the fraught process of negotiating new traditions and values. The Empire withdraws. The frontier remains wild, but not for long. Fugitives no more. The rebels of Paradis return to their home and to other free settlements, bringing their skills and secrets wherever needed. For once, they have a future. The refugees of Emerald Stair resettle in Thirdborn, bringing their skills and research to aid the local community. What starts as an uneasy partnership blossoms into a bond of trust. Through shared adversity, they find common ground. In time, the people of Emerald Stair return to their city of Fior Messiverno. Research yields new developments in the struggle against nature. Technology is shared among the united settlements. The Empire cannot get in the way of progress. For the people of Shatterscarp, independence is bittersweet. Those who cannot withstand the grief inflicted by Ringgrim's spell leave the settlements, vanishing into the wilderness. Those who remain find themselves forced to cooperate with others, often begrudgingly. With so many dead, the need to stave off hunger outweighs any distaste for certain trading partners. Solace Keep clings to its long-held isolation at first. But after mourning her friend Kostya, Mihala reluctantly deigns to open the doors of the fortress. Some dwarves greet newcomers with glee. Others still mutter darkly about outsiders. Mihala flounders in her earliest negotiations with the rest of the Living Lands, but slowly learns compromise. She develops a taste for Valian sweets. For the first time in many years, Kai feels an agreeable restlessness. Not to flee, not to drift, but to venture. He visits the distant shores Tama told him about, and savors the modern marvels, ancient wonders, and breathtaking expanses he beholds. His heart swells, not with grief, but with awe. There is so much to discover, and he will spend his years chasing all of the joy and beauty the world has to offer him. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge,
welcome,
he finds
Kurso.
himself
Yes.
more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. While he never regains his former place as a Warden of Solace, He spends his time traveling between Solace and Thirdborn, acting as a stubborn ambassador between the two. Giada continues to improve as an animal.
Just beat the final boss is quite a long talk.
Health of the living lands, nurturing instead of exploiting. Others follow her example, seeking her tutelage from lands far and wide. In the years to come, rumors spread of a secret society gathering in the wilderness, where animancers work in harmony with nature. The dream of Fior Mes Iverno lives on in her. No longer under the threat of imminent death, Yardsley returns to the Animancers. Reunited with her beloved Quilici, she helps him and the Animancers as they put their lives together after the attack on Fior Mes Iverno. Eventually, she even has something nice to say to Vidaro. As the days pass in contentment and relative peace, Yardsley is struck by the persistent feeling that something is missing. Though she still devotes herself to her studies of both the arcane and the godless, the restlessness never goes away.
We took her out of...
Freed from torment
became an
for the
archmage.
first time in centuries,
Feel guilty about that.
Sappadal turns their prodigious curiosity to the people that shaped them. They observe the ways their people live, and they think deeply about what they see. Though they flinch away from moments of violence, and they grieve souls returned to them too soon, the rage that once shook cities to rubble no longer rules them. Instead, they come to you with questions. They want to understand. After a time, they begin tentatively to garden. Where they can, they improve the lives of Kith, and the suffering that troubled them is reduced, if never fully eradicated. Their grief compels them to love, and they love unreservedly, with the power of a god. Sappadal pours a fragment of their power into the statue they claimed from the temple of Aethys.
Oh, okay.
Newly embodied, they roam the living lands and learn to experience the world as Kith do.
I already forgot about the statue.
Clumsy, and a stand of innocent trees is violently returned to the wheel. But as their confidence grows, so
That was
does
pretty
their
good
grace.
side quest.
Soon, they are bounding across the plains of eastern Dawnshore, leaping the river gorge in Emerald Stair, scaling the shark's teeth of Shatterscarp, and fearlessly wading into the Tusk's acid sea. When they break, they come to you to put them back together. And in time, they learn to fix themselves. They wander far afield. You see less of them, but they are never far from your thoughts. And on the rare occasion they return, they always bring you something beautiful and strange. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.
Okay, that's pretty good end enough as it could go, I would say so. There's one thing. So what we got? We got independence, basically. We unleashed the god, and he's not a raging god. He's not a god of tantrum anymore, but he's actually coexisting with the humans and listening to humans, and the bright future probably awaiting us ahead, unless Empire gonna strike back. And the only like some. So it costs us quite a bit of sacrifices with the Thirdborn, right? The Thirdborn probably the god at like the worst, because a lot of people died during the Rimgrade magic, right? When we cut down the source of Dream Scourge, and we used like living people for essence. And there's also Yardsley didn't become Archmage. We took her out and became an Archmage. I don't know if we push her into becoming an Archmage, our god would be, you know, more subtle as he right now, it did influence the decision of the god. That kind of thing. So there were a lot of like choices to make in this game. A lot of choices I was satisfied with, at least a lot of choices I wasn't. A bit too sweet on the ending. Everything works out for everyone. Fairly typical modern writing. In the course of saying, oh no, like I just pointed out like what didn't work out, right? The Thirdborn, they just saying that they were bitterly. A lot of people were went out of from a settlement altogether because they lost all their loved ones and stuff. But because they were hungry, they were forced to trade with us. So like, but yeah, this was more or less the best decisions. There's multiple endings to the game, and I heard about the endings where like everyone dying and you became a tyrant and all of that thing. There is that. So choices matter, and there was a lot of choices I made during the game. Especially the first choice, alright? The game took me 19 hours to complete, so we done basically everything except one treasure map. Everything. And there's a lot of exploration to do. I really... The game just excels in exploration, vertical exploration, just exploration altogether. The game has a lot of verticality to it, believe me or not. But yeah, the choices. So there's where when we first contacted with a god, we didn't know like he was a god yet. Some kind of voices in my head, and after the very first boss fight, he asked me why did I kill the bear, that corrupted bear, and if I had a choice, would I like actually heal him or anything? And that choice actually was matter in the very end of the game when we basically subdue the rage of the god, like taught him how to coexist with the humans, right? Instead of harming them and avenging their injuries, try to understand and heal. So that make a big impact, right? Basically, all you talk to the gods, shape it up how the personality of the god like develop it. And I imagine if like we went for a passive revenge, this will be like quite a different ending here altogether. Yeah, and also fair enough, like I didn't watch all much of it. It's too long and boring to watch it all. Also 19 hours, you are way past typical completion time. You can get through it in about 20 and a full run is more 60. So I was talking about that. So I was talking about that couple of times already. If you just jump in on the main quest only, right, just going from main quest to main quest, the game is very short. It's around like maybe 15 hours, I would say so. And there are some like the side quests you just saw with the statue took me also like whole stream to complete, and it's even ended in a summary. Right, it was pretty good quest and summarizing the event of a second basically game altogether. But yeah, like bunch of the quests, if you skip all of those, if you skip an exploration, just going from point A to point B, it's very short games, 15 hours. Also, I took extra time for exploring. Indeed, you know, with my great investigation ability, I'm pretty satisfied with how it's ended up, with me like finding majority of stuff. Right? Yeah, I have heard 15 across saying, but I went with a more conservative 20 to avoid like any argument about it. Yeah, so like I think it's 15 hours, so like didn't you know have like the concrete data on it, but it felt like there was very little main quest to do in terms of length. And we spent a lot of time of reading. I think at least 6 hours out of this 90 hours, if not 10 hours, we spent just reading different lore books and all of that things, right? Expanding our understanding of the universe, because it's a lore-rich game with a lot coming from first and second game, right? There's basically a whole world rotating around gods and empires and all of that things. With them, their own literature, and there's also a lot of talks with your companions as well, right? A lot of talks with other NPC, so that's also a big portion of the game when we just talking with the people, and everything was voice acted, right? This is like what I want to see in any CRPG I'm playing. Everything was acting. I wouldn't say voice acting was something godlike, like we saw in again Eternal. Oh my god, Eternal Strands, right? Eternal Strands we played before, also on the Game Pass. The voice acting in that game was the best voice acting I heard in any like games in a while. This one was kind of mediocre, but there were some good characters and some, well, mediocre characters in terms of voice acting. There's also a couple of few things to say about the game that I already said a lot, so I don't know if I need to reiterate it. I still think this is 8 out of 10 game, right? The game has quite a few replayabilities. At least you can build four builds, right? So how I think it, we have a mage build over here, right? There's a ranger build, there is a two-handed build, and shield and one-handed weapon build. So like I at least can picture myself playing with those two builds, and I picture myself playing the game again, but when they got like some more DLCs, right? The Obsidian known for their DLCs, right? All the DLCs were played in, well, in New Vegas, right? Were pretty good. In Outer Worlds was pretty good, right? So I can imagine some good DLC coming out with more features and more bug fixing, because there were some bugs. Unfortunately, there were some annoying bugs and mana bugs that prevented me utilizing my spells more fluidly, and well, it was not something I couldn't deal with. No game breaking bugs, fortunately for me, but some annoying bugs that have workaround, and well, just annoying. Yeah, and Crips of still 7 out of a moving to 8 is probably fair. It's always was 8. It's always was 8 for me at the beginning, or at the very beginning I started playing it. Right, so the big also point of this 8 out of 10 is the price, right, point. So if I played it, if I paid the full price for the game, or I got like a gift from a chat for a full price from a game, my opinion will be a little bit more strict about it, because this is not the game for $70 price. This is not, right? This is the game of in double A category. Double A category, like I say, it's pretty short if you just going for only main quest, and it's again the thing I was saying multiple times. If you ever played the Gridfall game, this is what the Gridfall was supposed to be, right? It's better in every aspect of the Gridfall. I give the Gridfall 7 out of 10. I remember correctly. Was like almost like 7 out of 10, and this game is just better in all aspects of the Gridfall. An exploration, in a story, in a quests, in dialogues, in combat. Another thing about the combat that can make this game better, so, and it wasn't actually in Gridfall, dodge rolling. So like I think the dodge rolling is something that they should replace the current dodging system altogether. So this game has parry and counter attacks, which we haven't been trying because it requires shields or two-handed weapons, the blocks especially. But playing the mage, you're only relying on dodging or your movement speed. There is a spell that can increase your move speed to maximum. It's probably better than dodging, actually, or moving around with maximum skip speed. but it's absolutely need a dodge roll, because dodging in this game is so bad. You especially at the beginning of the game when you're relatively weak and everything killing you, and you just rolling and you just dodging continuously in the environment, right? In environmental obstacles, and it's just bad. It's just bad. I feel like invulnerability frames with dodge rolling would make the combat for a mage especially way more enjoyable. And it stops saying, my guess was 75 like on Steam, so 77 I think so essentially it is the consensus. I do agree with that you're saying. Now it's true that it's overpriced and falls between AA and AAA, right? Yeah, I don't know if they even falls in between. It feels like it's just AA. It's no way it's getting closer to AAA, right? If you take into account how much they done with Kingdom Come Deliverance or Baldur's Gate 3, which are more or less AAA, right? RPG games. So this one not getting closer there. But again, was very enjoying playing it, mainly exploration and combat. Despite like I heard a lot of people were complaining about combat. The combat was pretty good here. The magic combat was pretty good. They have a lot of options, and I think the magic mechanic altogether with the grimoires and the wands was quite enjoyable and quite way better than I had in Oblivion, for example. We were comparing this game to Oblivion when we started playing to begin with, which just was bad comparison, alright? This game in a lot of systems and a lot of mechanics are simplified. I also heard about people complaining this game doesn't feels like super linear and don't have like any choices to make. The game has a lot of choices to do, and a lot of them are hard choices to begin with. And Lanerian it is. If you're following like main story, you have the game is huge in terms of a map. There's a lot of discover, there's a lot to do, but the main story is not allowing you to go from one map, right, from a first map to the end map and just go and exploring it all together. But we have similar things with Gridfall, for example. Gridfall was way more linear than Avowed to begin with, and that's like I say, that's the best game to compare it with. So 19 hours. Our second playthrough would be probably way faster because we're not going to be spending time on lore, on a bunch of dialogues, which is already new. And I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that for the DLCs and all that stuff. The question is, will have those DLCs on the Game Pass or will not? Because usually the Game Pass is famous for not getting these DLCs on just the main game, and you need to buy the DLCs, and a bunch of games are super expensive to begin with, and it's just thinking, well, it's not worth it buying the DLC, so that's kind of... I just saw like a new DLC for Age of Empires, Age of Empires? Not an Age of Empires, Age of Mythology, alright, like... So Age of Mythology came to the Game Pass quite a few months ago. They have a new DLC right now, Immortal Pillars, but the DLC costed more than the fucking game. Almost like. So, yeah. And you need a Game Pass to play it to begin with. Second playthrough, more plush Yodas. Yeah, so there's also the question of companions about the game that we didn't talk much. First of all, you spend half of the game just riding with two first companions. You get in, it feels like you're getting other companions far too late into the game, especially if you're doing more exploration and instead of following the main story. Yeah, and if you compare those companions to other companions, then you can have a bunch of options with your companions, like the gear system and all of that, and the skill system altogether. This one was very simplified compared to other RPG we played. This was probably the most simplified companions RPG we had. Nonetheless, I think that they make a good, the right decision with companions here in Avowed, because, well, I already was quite a bit of running of resources. I actually didn't have resources to my two set of weapons to upgrade them to the full level, to the end level, right? So I can't imagine if how this economy would work with companions. Economy also was a very strong point in this game. You always was struggling for money, so you need to think about like where you're spending your gear you found to disassembling them for materials, or you're selling it for money, because like there's some unique stuff you can buy from money as well, and unique materials you need. So there, I think economy was pretty good in this game too. Anyway, guys, like we're done with the Avowed. We're done with a huge portion for the game. So what come next? What come next out of this? We finished the record.